Awesome. Hopefully you've managed to get this far and you have this test in here. Now, what I want to do is I want to run this test and make sure that it passes. But also, I want to show you that the container will die. So as we finish the test, then the container will no longer be present. And this is a good thing because for unit tests, you don't want the container to be dangling around. So let's click on this button here, or you can right click and then run. And hopefully this should pass. And there we go. So you see that that was super quick and the test did pass. So here you have a bunch of debugging lines and you don't need to worry about none of this. But basically you can see that it's sending a HTTP request, checking few things with the container, but this is stuff that Testcontainers actually is doing for you. Now this actually worked. So you see that we have our container right here. So this is a database that we can use for our tests, and mainly we're going to use it for testing DAO layers. So this is why I've called it Amigos Code DAO unit test. So this test is all in good, it's passing. We've got 2 assertions, but now what I want to show you is that if I put a breakpoint in here, let's run this in debug mode. So right click, run in debug mode. There we go. You can see that this has stopped here. What I want to do now is I want to show you the container that has been created for us. Then we're going to bash into the container itself. So if I open up my terminal and then in here type docker ps. So basically we need to make sure that Docker is up and running. So we have docker and then ps, and this will describe the containers. And if this is a bit messy, so you can find the container. So have a look a minute ago. So this is the container and the name is this here. Now I have this command. So I'm going to say export. So export. So this formats the output of docker ps, and you can find this command under the description of this video. If I type docker ps now with format, so format, just like this. So docker ps -- format equals this format environment variable that I've just exposed. If I press enter, you can see that everything is nicely formatted. Now you might have fewer containers than me, but for sure you will have these 2. So here you'll have this one, which is the container running within our test. So here it gave it a random name and you can see the port. So this is a random port that maps to 5432. So this is the container itself. And then we have test container itself in here. Now here, so Postgres. So this is the database that we've been using throughout this course, right? So remember 5332 to 532. So here what they have done is they've chosen a random port and they map to the port inside of the container. So this is it. So obviously I've got more containers. I've got RabbitMQ and pgadmin, but don't worry about these. Now let's bash into this container. So here I'm going to select or grab this name in here and then clear the screen and then say docker exec -it and then paste the container name space and then bash or sh. So either should work. Enter, and you can see that we are within the container. Now let's try and connect to it. PSQL, enter. This should fail, so there's no role root, but we know that there is a role called Amigos Code. So if I say PSQL dash and then u space Amigos Code, you can see that now it's complaining about the database Amigos Code. And if you want to check all the options, you can say, I think it's PSQL -- and then help or -h. or dash dash help. So dash dash and then help. And here you can see that if I scroll up, you'll see that we have D for database name. We also have in here -u or -- username for the username and the port and whatnot. So for us, what we want, if I press Ctrl L in there, we want -u for the username and then -d for the database. And the database name that we defined was, within IntelliJ, have a look, this long name in here. So Amigos Code DAO unit test. So let me just grab this, go back, and then paste it, press enter, and check this out. So we are inside of our container. So here, if I press / and then L to list databases, I don't know why I said L, /L, you can see that we have 4 databases. We have template 1, template 0, Postgres, so these are the default, and then we have Amigos Code DAO, and then unit, and then test. So this is really good stuff. Now we can connect to it, /C, and then Amigos Code, and I think I've got it on my buffer. Nope. So Amigos Code, and then press tab. So tab is not working for some reason. Let's just Command C here, /C, connect to our database, and you can see that it's connected. If I say / and then D, we have no relations. And this is because currently our test doesn't create any tables, it doesn't add anything, because currently our database does not execute any flyway scripts. Awesome. Now, the last thing that I want to show you is, if I resume my test, this container will die. So let's check it out. So within IntelliJ, if I resume the program, you can see that the test passed. And if I check back to my container, in here, have a look. We are disconnected. So if I try to run the exact same command, docker exec to this guy, you can see that no such container found. If I do a docker ps, so docker ps format, you can see that it's gone. So no test containers left. And this is the one that I've been running so far. Cool. So if you've managed to do all of this, congratulations. You've managed to get test containers working with a Postgres database that is created and then destroyed after tests.